Hey, I'm John, and today I want to talk about the glorious thing that is Silux, and he is back, and I love Silux, and you may not know where he's from. He's from a little game called Metroid Prime Hunters. Now, this game was on the DS, and it was a little bit special because it was multiplayer focused, which is unusual for the series, and it was a lot of fun. And that's something I want to talk about because with Silux returning, I kind of want multiplayer back in my Metroid. And today I have Joey here with me to discuss more on this.
That's right. Did you just call me a moron? I'm just kidding. Let's keep going. It's really good. I'm very excited to talk about Metroid, my favorite franchise, and the possibility of a future multiplayer, whether it be in Prime 4 or something else.
Yeah, I just thought it would make so much sense right now, given that, A, they've had such a long development cycle, which, I mean, doesn't hugely affect the reasoning why, but I think people are hungry for a sci-fi shooter. And one of the best points was Halo Infinite's release. When it came out, lots of people went to and bought the game. Like, it was one of the quickest selling in the franchise. But things happened and its multiplayer didn't quite live up to its hype.
I remember that. Like, I had a good time with Halo Infinite multiplayer, but I also fell off it mighty quick. But to be fair, I fall off of most multiplayer modes mighty quick. Like, no matter how good they are, because I'm primarily a single player guy. But yeah, it's interesting we have Halo Infinite because Halo and Metroid are sometimes like, I don't want to say at odds with each other, but you can see many similarities between the two.
Yeah, what's that type of twin that is like similar, but they're like fraternal twins? I feel like that's the energy that I get off of those two franchises, is that they're similar, but they have their key differences.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, one thing I think would be huge if they did bring back multiplayer is to kind of bring it in narrative-wise. This was one of my ideas, that if they made a multiplayer, they could try to influence it into the narrative of the game.
How do you mean? Because I can't... it's interesting you say that, because I really don't understand what that means. Are you saying, like, would something in the story lead to, like, a multiplayer kind of mode? Or would we have characters, or more like it is in Hunters, where there are characters in the single-player mode that can be played in the multiplayer mode?
All right, so let me explain to you one of my first ideas, and this is one I've been cooking up. It's the idea that it's the Federation versus the Space Pirates. So imagine this is going on in the background while all of the events of Metroid Prime 4 are going off, because that's kind of like what's going on right now is the Federation versus the Space Pirates. So imagine you get to be one or the other. You're these little grunts, and I think that would be very fun to see that perspective.
That is so cool. I literally could never have thought of that in a million years. That's really neat. And with that in mind, would you think that these two factions play similarly to each other more than anything? Like, you know, the Spartans and the elites in Halo, or were you thinking like they would have some differences between the two?
I personally would love it if there were key differences that would make them beneficial, because if you played Hunters before, each Hunter kind of had their small advantage, and I would love to carry that over into the new one, because I thought it was very fun. It made multiplayer kind of always unpredictable.
I see.
Yeah, and one of the things I think that would be very cool is to bring in elements of Metroid and put it in there. So while they may not be able to do Morph Ball, because their tech just was never good enough. I mean, you know what happened to the Space Pirates when they try to emulate that?
Oh, yes, I do. I remember that logbook entry.
But I have the idea, like, things like using your visor to scan enemy locations real quickly, to like pinpoint, it's like enemies over there, let me scan their location and give you everybody's like on the team. I think that would be super fun.
That reminds me of it reminds me of like the tracker grenade from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, but also there's an operative in the game X Defiant, which came out this year. She was the Splinter Cell type of character, and her ult move, or whatever you want to call it, was basically revealing all enemy locations with her little Sam Fisher night vision goggles. It was really cool, and I think that's a very solid idea for a for a Metroid multiplayer mode. The thing I had, because when I think about this, first I'm going to be a little honest. I was never too big on either Metroid Prime Hunters multiplayer or Metroid Prime 2's multiplayer. I've just never really been a multiplayer guy for that kind of stuff. But I always think like if they were to bring it back, it would be a little more akin to Hunters, because if you think about it, Hunters was kind of a hero shooter.
No,
a little bit like
you're getting ahead.
Overwatch.
I literally.
Yes.
Oh, I got something written in my notes about that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're ready to jump to that, we can jump to that. But yeah, I just keep thinking like, bring back characters, not even just from like Prime 4 Hunters, but like Dark Samus. Any other character I'm thinking of, like the Hunters from freaking Metroid Prime 3, dude.
Oh, dude, that would be great. So yeah, I'm gonna give you a little bit of my history with Hunters real quick. I used to play it a lot when I was younger. I was in an esports league. I wasn't the best, but I could definitely hold my own. I really digged it, but it's intense, because if you play against pros now, they'll tell you these weird insights like you have to aim randomly because of the netcode, and these people could like know where the netcode would predict where to shoot and head shoot you with the what was the one sniper character? Oh man, he was so annoying in multiplayer.
I totally forgot. Yeah, I totally forgot the name of him. I forgot the name of pretty much everyone except like Weevil and Silex, but it was the red guy, right?
Trace. I think his name, that thing's name was Trace. Man, I hated that thing. With the sound it makes, just like as you get blown up.
I was gonna say, oh my god, Tracer, hero shooter, Overwatch. My god.
Yeah. So so that was one idea. I had another idea that emphasizes the hero characteristics, and the only way I could see this happening is if this new Metroid game brings in more hunters to the story, even if they're new or old. Which I'm hoping for Weevil. Crossing my fingers, their story totally would line up. But it would be basically from hunters, but evolve to be more class-like. Like Overwatch. Now, I do think I like that Hunters lets you still be kind of a universal player, but characters have their strong suit. And I feel like they could balance that in between, where it's like you're sort of class, but you can still be a bit more versatile. Because I don't feel like pure class fits Metroid, like being like these specific character types. I'm not sure that quite fits.
Yeah, I wouldn't be inclined to agree with you unless they do include like Rundis or Gandreda, which are just different characters by design. Then that would make and I feel like at that point, it would just be its own game and wouldn't even be included in Prime 4. It would just be like its own separate thing, maybe free to play, like Halo Infinite, perhaps. But that's just what I'm predicting.
But yeah, and I could totally see one of my favorite modes from Hunters was a thing called I think it was just called Hunter mode, or no, Bounty mode. Of course, Samus is a bounty hunter,
right?
Even if Nintendo may not always see it as that. So there was one mode where you were assigned a specific target, and you would only get points if you killed that target. So if someone else killed that target, you wouldn't get the point.
Oh, nice.
And that mode was very fitting for the game, and it was very fun because you would try to like outplay and outmind like your other hunters, because if you could tell someone was hunting you, you would want to kill them.
That sounds like that's also kind of like bounty hunting mode in X Defiant, which I may sound like a big X Defiant fan, but like everything else, I just drop off multiplayer games so quick, and I'm not the only one who dropped off of that game. But yeah, anything else you want to add to this? Because I feel like I want to talk a little bit about why there might we're talking about potential multiplayer, but I just want to go over briefly why I don't really see it happening in Prime 4.
Oh yeah, sure, let's go on to why it won't be happening.
Yeah, not to be the Debbie Downer of this conversation, but here's the thing. Firsthand, I don't disagree at all that Metroid Prime needs a multiplayer mode. Like, I'm not, maybe not needs, but it's just like, I would not be opposed to it. I think there's a lot of people out there right now who are really against, like, Metroid Prime having multiplayer again, because, I don't know, they don't want it associated with the culture that comes with online shooters, or more like what they think the culture is. Which, yeah, there's some truth to, like, the obnoxious nature of it, but it's not always all that bad, you know? But in this case, I think Retro Studios did not. What I'm theorizing is that there is no multiplayer mode in Prime 4 Beyond, specifically because Retro Studios spent, like, God, however long it took them, like 5-6 years. It's going to be like 6 years since they got the project by the time the game comes out, and I think they just really spent the time focusing on that multiplayer mode, brushing it up, polishing it to absolute perfection. Did I say multiplayer mode? I meant just single player mode. The campaign mode, I should say. Yeah. Really,
he's got insider info.
I'm inside the mind of Retro. But yeah, it's. I really think they just spent this time focusing on the single player. However, maybe Metroid Prime 5. All I'm saying. But I also think about the success of F-Zero 99. Free to play as long as you have Switch Online. Maybe there's something there at the very least.
Yeah, and one of my arguments is if it's a launch title, having a game that would probably have cross play with the previous console might muddy up the kind of specialness that it could have as a unique version, and that they would want the game to stand out as, like, look how pretty this version is, because they're totally going to release it on both platforms if it comes to Switch, whatever the next console is.
Right.
But so that's my reasoning against it is, yes, they want to focus on the strengths because it's been such a long wait, and they don't want to have anything that may be half-hearted. So I definitely understand that side, and I totally do it. But on the other hand, like I said, they've had this long amount of time, and I believe they were hiring some, like, multiplayer map focused workers. I think I saw something about that. Could be wrong, and I'm not going to put my foot down on that one. But with that much time, they could make this a all-encompassing title that Halo fans and stuff like this, they've been sitting and wanting. And also, it would be a good multiplayer showcase for the next console, especially if they give it special features for the next console, like built-in voice chat or something of like that.
Nintendo, built-in voice chat? Keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'll dream on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love it if there was a multiplayer mode announced. That way you could, like, message me saying, "In your face, Joey. I told you it'd be here."
The last Joey is in captivity.
Oh, man. But yeah, multiplayer in Metroid, I've always said, like, I have said in the past, like, if this did get a multiplayer mode, it would probably help with its sales. If it's a good multiplayer mode, that is. Because, you know, the kids love their online shooters.
They do.
And, like, I feel like there would be challenges making, like, the Metroid Prime gameplay be, like, fitting for, like, an online multiplayer setting. Like, we have the closest thing we got to that, other than Hunters, was Metroid Prime 2, which was only local multiplayer.
Oh, right.
But Metroid, as we know, does not play like your traditional first-person shooter. Even though, like, this... I'm watching the Prime 4 trailer right now. I've been having it up during this conversation just to get in the mode, get in the zone. I
played a round of Hunters before we did this.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So even though, like, Metroid Prime is going to have Metroid Prime Remastered, and now Prime 4 is going to have the traditional, like, you know, I don't know if a twin stick's the right word, but it's just like, you know, aim with the right stick, move with the left, those controls. It still looks like it's going to rely heavily on lock-on, and that lock-on really changes how you play the game. Like, you just remember playing the Metroid Prime 2 multiplayer, just locking onto each other and keep strafing right until eventually one of you gets shot. So, yeah, it would be interesting how to pull that off.
All right, so I want to just quickly run down on that one original idea, because I was going to cover that with all these, like, in-canon reasons of how the multiplayer would play differently. So let's say
you thought of everything.
In multiplayer, yes. So in multiplayer, I imagined that no one would have lock on because that's only an advanced Variosuit capability, and that so all these Space Marines or not Space Marines,
Space
Galactic
Marines.
Federation
Are we in
soldiers.
Warhammer now, John?
I've been playing the game. Sorry, it's a good game.
I want to play it.
But so
I wanna
all
play
these
some.
guys, it's so good. But yeah, I imagine all these grunts wouldn't have that technology. Like these guys are running off of like much more barbaric technology, and that stuff like lock on would be a special ability that appears on stage, and that you could get that, and suddenly your missiles would home in and hit all the targets, and you'd be like a force to be reckoned if just because you have 1 ounce of Samus's power. And like I feel like that would give a great synergy with the single player, because then you realize, wow, Samus is awesome. Like in comparison to all the grunts, it's like they can't do any of that stuff.
Oh man, it's like another Halo reference for you. It's like ODST when you play as a
Exactly.
drop shock trooper guy, and it's just like now it's just like, oh, I appreciate being a Spartan now because this guy is weak as hell.
Another thing is like I would imagine it's like Halo where everybody starts off with mostly the same weapon set, but I love the idea that you can unlock and customize special missiles, so everybody could have like their own missiles, and like the Federation could have their own unique missiles versus the space pirates.
I would like that too. That sounds really cool. I was thinking when you said customizable missiles, I just imagined giving the missiles paint jobs, like more writing on it, bye bye, or see you in hell.
Oh, you can add glitter smoke. Like
Yes.
imagine you could change the smoke trail. Yeah. And like imagine a mode where you have to capture the Metroid in the capsule and bring it back to your base. Like all this in-canon stuff. This is what I was talking about, to make the multiplayer feel more grounded in the universe.
I think that's the way better option than just simply having like, okay, here's a just random multiplayer mode with a bunch of like Samus clones. Everything you're describing sounds just infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, and imagine a horde mode where all the space pirates are dropping in, like just from that preview trailer. Just imagine if they all start just dropping in, and you're just like, like 4 little guys.
Don't threaten me with a good time. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so these ideas have been rattling my brain. It's like, man, if they could bring it back, they could bring it back hard.
They really could. That does sound incredible right there. Like, I would truthfully, I wouldn't mind if there was only a horde mode. Like seriously, that's with you and a group of
I'm
4.
fine with that too.
Yeah, like you and 3 other people just like going to town against these space pirates, and they're like maybe some animals in there too. It'd be so rad. A little bit of maybe like with a little bit of Nazi zombies, like going through some unlocking more rooms, stuff like that.
Yeah, and oh my god, the environments and the maps, oh, they would be so rad. For a multiplayer game, like no multiplayer games would have the matching ambiance of Metroid.
Mm-hmm. I think they should hire us, John, or you, because you have the ideas.
Yeah, but like I said, so these are my reasons. These are my ideas of what multiplayer could be for Metroid. Is there any like ideas that you've been rattling on in your brain? I know you said like Overwatch. What like could you explain that, or did you pretty much get all your bullet points out?
I think I got most of my bullet points out. Like the hero shooter sort of aspect, it wouldn't be like exactly 1-to-1, just an Overwatch clone or something. But like you would have those many different characters that play wildly differently from each other. But you know, now that I think about it, Concord was a massive flop, and so Nintendo's probably like, nope, we're staying far away from that.
Yeah, and yeah, so I think it could work, and with Nintendo's prestige, I think the price point, or if they decide to make it a free-to-play side mode, I think either of those could work. I'm glad you see some points of view, and you got your own bullet points, and we had the kind of same thought process on a few of ideas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it was literally me just agreeing with most of your ideas, because it's not something this isn't something I think about too much. But although you mentioned like if they came out with like a wouldn't a free to play like multiplayer side mode be a great way to advertise this game? I think so.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh my god, like Like, and I honestly think rather than trying to copy like Hunters again, I feel like the first idea that I had with like you playing as Federation and Pirate Hunters, I think that synergy, that is just mwah. That's what the ambience of Metroid's all about. Is just kind of like everything feeling connected.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's just vastly more interesting than just repeating Hunters all over again.
But yeah. But well, thank you for just agreeing with me on some bullet points here. I hope everybody listening has a good time. And if you have any of your own ideas, I'll write them in. I would love to like hear about any other multiplayer ideas that you would love to see, or what's your favorite Metroid Prime Hunter character?
And don't say Weevil. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you don't? Do you hate Weevil?
I don't care about. I'm not a huge fan of like just. I don't think about Hunters too much, John. Here's a secret of mine. Hunters is one of my least favorite ones, to be honest.
Yeah, single player was awful.
Oh, it was terrible, right? And I could never hook my DS up to the internet to play online. I just couldn't figure out how to do it.
Do you still have the cartridge though?
I think I just found it actually.
You know, there's a way to play DS games online, right?
There is.
We could go 1v1 sometime.
We might have to, because we're the only ones playing in the world.
No, I tried, because I found a community and they are insane. So I can't play with them. They destroy me every time.
I know. It's just, if you're still, they're almost as bad as the people who still play Call of Duty on Wii U with the Wii remote and nunchuck.
Oh, those are scary people. Oh my goodness.
They keep me awake at night, I swear to God.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Joey, for coming on by, and thank you all for watching, and have a good one. Bye.
All right. Bye.